You're listening to a Sight and Sound bite.
Let's talk about the Migos.
Shout out Migos.
You have a smirk on your face. What do you? Don't talk about the music yet.
Okay.
What do you know about the Migos?
I know the song Versace.
Okay, Versace.
Drake appeared on the remix, and that was my first go with Migos, and that came out like 3 years ago.
I guess so.
I thought that it was one person at the time.
So did I for a long time.
I didn't know that it was like a group or a coupling of people.
I thought Migos was the guy in Atlanta
Yeah.
that was talking the whole time, not the other guys.
What?
You know, Migos was in, all three of them were in Atlanta.
What characters?
The episode where they have to do some sort of drug deal and they go way out in the woods in a trailer.
Is that them?
That's them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that. But anyway,
I thought you knew that. Sorry.
From that point on, I thought that Migos was practically dead because I had not heard of them at all since that Versace remix came out. And so it wasn't until recently, it wasn't until the Golden Globes when Gambino gave him a shout out during his speech. And I'm like,
Bad and Bougie?
oh, yeah.
Is it Bad and Bougie or Big and Bougie? Bad and Bougie.
Bad and Bougie.
Doesn't matter. What does that mean?
So, yeah, it was only like a month or two ago where I'm like, oh, they're still going on. And then other things have developed. Like I've heard the Bad and Bougie song before that Cultures dropped, and I didn't at the time realize it was Migos, but I'd heard it somehow. And this might be a theme on today's episode.
Okay.
People need to calm down about the things that are going on.
I agree 100% in general. It doesn't help that we have a podcast that sort of heightens people's like,
it's one specific instance, but they're fine. And I know you don't want me to talk about the music yet, but what Donald Glover said at the Golden Globes, that they are better than or the next Beatles.
Did he say that?
I'm pretty sure he did.
I don't recall that, but okay.
Regardless, it translated into an article done by Complex saying 8 reasons why Migos is better than the Beatles. And I'm just saying, calm down. Just slow your roll.
You're being exposed to the machine that absolutely annoys the shit out of me in terms of music blogs, music websites, music publications,
and movie blogs. We'll get to that later.
Movies do it too, but music does this thing. I'm sure TV does this a lot too, where it's all about like getting on the hype train first, sort of thing, and they'll ride it.
Yeah.
And they'll ride it right up to the lead up, and because they'll build it up, because if it's huge, oh, look how much content we have to talk about this. But if the wheels fall off when it comes out, like just as a, for instance, just using it as an example, if you remember all the fucking coverage that was going on about Force Awakens.
Yeah, of course I do.
Right.
You kidding me?
Right. And if people never would have saw the movie and never heard anything after that, you would have thought it was the greatest thing ever because of how much coverage. But if that was a terrible movie, or I'll just use it as an example before we go into talking about it. But if this Migos album was terrible, they just kind of push it under the rug. You know what I'm saying? They just stop talking about it. Maybe they review it, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is very strange how that works.
I don't like it. Because
I don't either,
especially with me, because you know that I'm already going to be skeptical. I'm not going to give something as much of a chance like this,
right?
When it comes to music. So it's like I heard the one song and then I listened to it on my way to your house, and I think it's fine. I think the quality of the album is good. Cultures, it just dropped this week or yesterday, right?
Yeah, dropped Friday. Yeah, we're recording this on a Saturday.
Right. So I thought it was fine. Maybe a little, in my taste, a little monotonous when it comes to, I guess, their cadences and their rhythm and how they actually just rap. I kind of thought was a little just overdone, and I didn't even finish the album. I mean, I thought it was good, and I understand why people would like it, but it didn't strike a chord just yet. We
haven't talked a ton about rap and hip hop on this podcast so far, and that's crazy to me because it's such a huge genre. I've gone on record as saying that I think rap and hip hop and even R&B to a certain extent are the most interesting. It is one of the most interesting music genres because, first of all, it's such a young genre of music. I mean, you know, you go back to the mid 70s through the 80s, obviously. It's interesting because I think we're starting to see now rap and hip hop sort of venture out into other genres of music and take influence. I call this era, and I've had discussions with people about this, I call this era of rap and hip hop the sort of almost psychedelic era that, you know, rock music went through in the 60s, or the punk rock era of hip hop music, where it's getting a little bit more abrasive or hard. It used to be if a rap or hip hop album came out, they played it in the clubs, they played it wherever it is. Now you get a lot of rap and hip hop albums that they don't even really break into the mainstream. I mean, a lot of people like them, but I mean, you could even, if The Life of Pablo came out and it wasn't a Kanye West album, people might not have been talking about it as much.
I agree 100%.
So it's fascinating to me. Now, you know, I'm a huge rap fan, huge rap and hip hop fan. I love it. How do you think I feel about this album?
I think,
and you never know how I feel about things.
I don't. I think that you,
it's an interesting dynamic on this podcast.
I think you agree with me.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. I just don't think there's enough to it. Even though you're a rap fan and a hip hop fan, I still feel like you want some kind of depth, and you're not just
some substance.
You don't want to just bump in your car. You want to actually.
Sometimes I do.
Okay, I don't think you care for this album that much.
This album is nothing. It's straight up nothing.
Do you agree with me that it's sort of monotonous? And it's
so I was hoping that Luke Jaggers would listen to this.
Well, you know he is. Hashtag dong.
Because I have a comparison I need to make. Migos, for me, is the rap version of Amir.
Okay.
Because this is... And this is what I'll say about it. I don't think this album is terrible. I don't think it's bad.
I agree.
It's just, it's 100% not for me, because this is a sound and a style in rap and hip hop that I'm not 100% on board with. To sort of compare it a little bit, I'm going to throw the name Future out there. People love Future, and I think Future is great as a feature artist from time to time, but I've never been able to sit through an entire Future album. I just can't. Now, this is a lot different than a Future album. Migos are known for cultivating this Atlanta style of hip hop, but this style and this genre has these certain aspects that they absolutely ride into the ground. I mean, they do this same approach, song after song, after song, after song, after song. And yes, it gets extremely monotonous, a little bit drony. After a while, the songs run together, and it's just not for me, man. Like, and yet somebody said, I don't remember who said it. Was it Luke that said he could see this being a perfect album to just be, you know, drunk and on in the club, and it's
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, my second favorite album of 2015 was Travis Scott's Rodeo. Didn't care for his new album, Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight, but I did like Rodeo quite a bit. And that album sort of has aspects of what this Migos album has. But man, he just brings a lot more to the table. In my opinion, he brings a lot more melody, a lot more song structure. Every song sort of has a different vibe to it. And you're right, this doesn't have enough substance or enough, like, we're not really going into different rooms in the house. We're sort of sitting in the living room the entire time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why I say it. That's why I compare it to Amir. Amir is a guilty pleasure of mine. But in terms of breakdowns, my God, if you don't like breakdowns, you're not going to like Amir, because it's
pretty much, it's just one note.
That's all it is. Yeah. So I agree with you too about pump the brakes on this. because I don't understand. If you're gonna climb on the back of a giant dragon, like you would in
Khaleesi style.
Yeah, like a Khaleesi dragon. I don't know if the Migos dragon is the one you want to be riding on. It's just like I wouldn't take that to the bank.
So help me out. So was I sort of right in thinking that they've up until now have kind of vanished, at least?
100%.
From the forefront, and I'm putting that in air quotes because I know, again, they 100%. Haven't really crossed over. So
they've been dropping a ton of mixtapes. If you were to go on Spotify right now, they have a ton of stuff out there.
So that's what I'm wondering too. Is I don't really care about the Beatles thing, and I'm not going to go into a whole argument as to why that is just preposterous. But it's like, okay, if they already kind of fell off from their last song that, was brought to the forefront by Drake.
Right.
Because I didn't even know that there was an original. I didn't realize that Drake was the remix of Versace. But that was the one that obviously, because, Drake.
Drake.
Where's Migos going to be in 5 or 10 years?
That's a good question.
What are they going to do?
Well, what
else can they do?
There's this entire new generation of rap and hip hop artists that are coming up right now that I think you sort of have to, we think all the time about Drake and Kanye. Drake's been doing it for a long time, man. I mean, he's been doing it for a while. And Kanye is sort of in that, the upper echelons. He's like the old guy right now. I mean, of course he's doing great stuff, but I mean, do you know anything about, I'm going to butcher the name, Ray Shremund? Ray Shremund?
No.
Black Beatles, you familiar with that song?
No.
Okay, they're a gigantic duo. It's drummer's ear spelled backwards, but Ray Shremund, I don't know if that's how you say it, but huge group, Lil Yachty.
I do know Lil Yachty.
Okay.
See the one in the Sprite commercial?
Yeah. Lil Uzi?
No.
These are all people. Well,
Lil Uzi?
Yeah, these are all people that
I'll listen to this later.
Apparently you should be familiar with.
Sorry.
But obviously Chance the Rapper is one, but I don't know. That's a good question because I think we're falling into, because of the way music is going, because of Spotify, because singles are so much bigger now, we're starting to kind of go a little bit backwards, in my opinion, with rap and hip hop, where back when I was growing up, I never listened to a full rap album. I would only listen to like the big singles, the club bangers.
I rarely do it now.
Right. But you're aware that there are artists out there that are making full albums and projects that are great.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe we're reverting back to the whole single mentality. And that's fine, I guess. It's just not interesting to me.
For those of you who don't know what a single is, Jay, can you... It's an inside joke.
Yeah. Yeah, look... And that's, this might spark a conversation for my next music episode. Single culture versus album culture. When is it okay to make an album? When is it okay to make an EP? If you're going to make a fucking album, it doesn't need to be a collection of songs. That's not okay to me. It has to be a body of work. Give me a reason to have 10 of your songs.
Yeah.
And I think rap can be guilty of that. And they will put so many fucking songs. There was like 20 songs on this.
Yeah.
This, what's this band called? We're talking about Migos thing.
Band.
Whatever. They're a group. Not a lot of hip hop groups right now. Last thing I'm going to say, that song Big and Bougie, it's a good song. I'm a big fan of Metro Boomin. Do you know who Metro Boomin is?
No.
Metro Boomin is, I'm laughing at you right now just because it's like, if I would have asked a bunch of other people if they knew, they would be like, yeah, of course. But most people probably don't know who he is.
What about Brando? You think Brando knows who he is?
I don't know. Brando, if you know who Metro Boomin is, pause this podcast and send us a comment on Facebook.
Also promote us.
Yeah, absolutely. Metro Boomin is a huge hip hop producer. He's known for partnering with Future. He did the entire production on What a Time to Be Alive, the Future and Drake collaboration. He's got that beat, the Metro Boomin wants some more. Yeah. And also the If Young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
This is a gated community. Please get the fuck off the property.
Yeah.
The property.